Good afternoon. I'm Jerry Schoenfeld, and I'm joining you today from the campus of Florida Gulf Coast University, where, due to my teaching commitments, I'm unable to be with you in person to go over and share the results of the 2018 member survey. I wanted to spend a few moments, however, to go over some of the key findings and some of the interpretation of those findings, and thank you for your participation in the survey. We had a great response rate, and because of that, I think the results are something that can be really meaningful for everyone.
Last time we did a member survey was back in 2015. This year's survey had three main purposes. We wanted to hear from all members on their current level of satisfaction across a wider variety of amenities and club experiences. We wanted to learn from members on what are those areas that they would like to see added to their club experience sometime in the future. For the survey, we made sure that we gave an opportunity for all members to participate, and that would be both spouses in a membership. Because we know that within any membership, one spouse might prefer certain activities while another spouse might prefer different activities. So we wanted to give a voice to everyone that is here at the club. Now, the participation rate for the survey was extremely good. We had a 48% response rate, meaning that we had 435 surveys completed, which represented over 70% of the households. Generally speaking, when we do surveys, if we can get over a 40% response rate, we can say that the results are representative of the entire membership. So for this survey, the results that I'm about to review, we can say that they are a good representation of the members here at Eagle Creek, and therefore can be very useful for informing future decision making. Now, looking a little further at the participants in the survey, we found that 14% of them were age 60 or younger, 34% were between the ages of 61 and 70, 43% were between 71 and 80, and 9% were over the age of 80. Looking at how long they've been a member, we know that 27% have been a member for 4 years or less, which means that a significant number of survey participants weren't here in 2015, the last time the survey was administered. 27% have been here from 5 to 10 years, and then looking at the other end, 17% have been members at Eagle Creek for 20 plus years. 54% of our members are here between 4 and 8 months per year. Essentially they are seasonal members. 24% are here 9 months or more per year. We also looked at how frequently members are here during the traditional off-season months of May through September, and the responses show that 72% report spending at least 1 week here during the traditional off-season months. Further, we asked if members had rented before purchasing at Eagle Creek, and 20% reported that yes, they had rented before becoming a member and an owner here at Eagle Creek. Now, the survey was a little bit different than the 2015 survey in that we focus here on a number of areas where we asked members to rate their satisfaction. And in this survey, there was 10 areas in which we requested members to rate their level of satisfaction. And those 10 areas you can see included various aspects of the golf course, tennis, bocce, fitness, dining, communications, and the clubhouse overall. So we had 10 areas, and in total there were 85 questions. And each of those questions were rated on the same 5-point scale, where 1 would be rated poor, 2 would be below satisfaction, 3 would be average satisfaction, 4 would be above average satisfaction, and 5 would be excellent. Now, for each of these items, the numbers that I'm going to present will be the average or the mean for all the responses tallied. And one way of looking at those would be from more of an academic perspective. So as we look at some of these numbers, I want you to keep in mind that a rating that is 4.5 or better on a 5-point scale is something that is really hard to achieve, and we would consider that an A+ type of rating. Those that are rated 4 to 4.49 are outstanding, and those would be at an A level. 3.75 to 3.99 are above average ratings, or a B plus. 3.25 to 3.75 show that members overall are satisfied, and that would be a B level. And then 3.0 to 3.24 would be okay, but are targets for future consideration, or a B minus rating. And then anything below a 3, 2.99 or less, are really red flags or areas for further exploration that need attention. That would be at a D or F level. Now, I'm going to give you some of the overall ratings in a few minutes, but I thought before we get to that, I would give you some illustrative examples of 3 of the main amenities, which would be golf, fitness, and dining. So turning to golf, we know that 73% of the members play golf. Now, back when we did the survey in 2015, that number was 80, so it has gone down. However, when we asked members how much golf they expect to play over the next 3 years, 70% expect to play the same amount, and 22% of members expect to play more. So that number of 73% would actually probably go up over the next 3 years. Now, looking at some of the ratings for particular items, you see here on this slide that I've given you some examples for the golf practice, the golf pro shop, the golf pros, and the golf course specifically. And you see that the ratings here range from 3.48 for the putting and chipping area all the way up to 4.59 for the conditions of the greens. So all of these ratings can be considered very positive ratings. Now, while we didn't do this for all areas, we did ask these same questions in the 2015 area. So looking at how things have changed over the last 3 years, we can see that all in all, most of the ratings are comparable between 2015 and 2018. Without getting into statistical significance, as a general rule of thumb, if an area has a difference of 0.30 or greater, we can say that there is a meaningful difference from the 2015 rating to the 2018 rating. So looking at the 3 areas I have highlighted in green, we can see that the conditions of the green, the overall course playability, and the overall course condition each have a meaningful difference from the last time the survey was administered, which indicates that the course revitalization implemented in 2016 has been received very well among the members. Now, where possible, I've also benchmarked your results to comparable clubs in the Collier Boulevard 951 corridor. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of similar clubs that are equity member-owned communities. And looking at these results, you can see that the results from Eagle Creek are very, very positive. So looking at something like the practice range, we see that in 2018 a mean rating of 3.92, and 2 comparable clubs would have 3.48 and 3.62. I'm not going to go over each of them, but you can see that consistently across the board in most of these areas, there are significant positive ratings from members for Eagle Creek compared to how members rated their own club at 2 comparison clubs here down the road. Looking at fitness, we see that 86% of the members are using the fitness facility. We know that here in 2019 that the use and desire for a fitness center has gone up consistently over the last decade. We know that 52% are now using the fitness facility multiple times per week, and that 45% are interested in having additional group fitness classes. Further, 45% answered that they were interested in having spa services, which would include manicures, massages, facials, and things of that nature, that they'd be interested in having that available here at Eagle Creek. Looking at just some illustrative examples of ratings for the fitness facility, I chose overall maintenance, overall quality of the fitness program, fitness equipment variety, and group exercise classes. And we can see that the ratings at our 2 comparison clubs are very similar to the ratings for the fitness club. The equipment variety at 3.94, similar to the 3.85 for Club X, a little bit lower than the 4.18, but not significantly lower for Club Y. and that was true for each of the areas. We could say that the group exercise classes at 3.56 were rated lower than the experiences that members reported at Club X and Club Y. I should mention, when we looked at these ratings, for example, the group exercise class rating of 3.56, in addition to providing the overall means, the survey results also provide percentages for each of the rating categories. That can help for further interpretation and meaning of members' experiences with any given item. So for example, the group exercise classes. The overall rating was 3.56, which was a good solid rating, but not a A-level rating. But when we look further, we know that of that rating, 24% rated this as above average or excellent levels of satisfaction, while only 5% of members rated this poor or below average satisfaction. So that 3.56, not as high as the other ratings that are being shown here, but we know that the majority rated this as above average or excellent in terms of their satisfaction. Turning to dining, we asked a number of yes/no questions, and we know that 48% of the members view the club dining as one of their top 3 dining choices whenever they're eating away from home. And 98% feel that they and their guests receive a warm welcome by the club staff. And then further, 71% would like to see healthier and locally sourced farm-to-table food options made available in terms of their dining options. Looking at some illustrative examples of ratings, you see here that for the wait staff, a very high rating of 4.40. For the quality of food, a good strong rating of 3.77. The consistency of food at 3.69. Menu selection and variety at 3.36. And then the CL stands for Crystal Lake, and we know that the quality of food was rated 3.45, the menu selection 3.03, and the price of menu items at 3.37. Looking at some comparisons to other clubs, while I don't have those for a secondary food option, for the main clubhouse food, we see that the wait staff here is viewed at Eagle Creek much higher than they were viewed at 2 comparison clubs. The quality of food and the consistency of food was also rated much higher than the similar ratings at other clubs. I should mention that the 3 ratings for the Crystal Lake were 3 of the lowest ratings in the survey, and I'll make reference to those again when I talk about some of the lowest ratings in the survey in a few moments. Now, looking at the overall satisfaction by the survey, the 10 survey rating categories, we created a composite rating for each of these categories, and the ratings across the board are shown on this slide. For the golf course itself, it had the highest rating with a mean overall satisfaction of 4.31, tennis at 4.16, bocce at 4.10, the golf shop 4.10, and fitness at 4.00. Each of those are considered A-level ratings, which means that the majority of members are rating this as above expectations in terms of their satisfaction or excellent level of satisfaction. The other ratings are also high. Communications at 3.96, golf operations at 3.93, the clubhouse at 3.92. Those all can be considered B pluses or even A minus ratings. Clubhouse dining at 3.73, a very solid high B rating. And then the Crystal Lake dining being the lowest rated category at 3.55. And lowest rating is just relative here because many clubs would be thrilled to have a 3.55 rating versus their ratings at 3.1 or 3.0 or even lower in terms of member satisfaction. So as a composite, we see that the overall rating is 3.98, a very strong rating across the board for those 85 items that were rated in terms of members' level of satisfaction. Now, as a point of comparison, we know that 50 out of the 85 questions were rated 4.0 or higher. That represents an outstanding 59% of the questions were rated as being at a very high level of meeting members' levels of satisfaction. As a comparison, you can see the rating categories. Now, there'll be different items for every club because every club survey is a little bit unique. But as a composite rating, we can see that for the golf course at 4.30, our comparisons are 3.61 and 3.68. For tennis, we're right aligned with most other clubs. Most clubs rate tennis very highly among those members who participate clubs, so that's usually very high and consistent. Bocce is relatively unique here at Eagle Creek, but a high rating of 4.10. The golf shop, a little bit higher than we found at a comparison club. The fitness overall, right the same as with other comparison clubs, or slightly higher. The communications are slightly higher. Golf operations, the clubhouse, and dining all are higher than our comparison clubs. So the views of the members show that there's a great deal of satisfaction across all various amenities here at Eagle Creek. Now, looking at the top rated items, we see that the top 10 highest rated items were the quality of tennis lessons at 4.63, the conditions of the greens at 4.59, other aspects of golf and tennis were all some of the highest rated items, all 4.44 or above. So a lot of high ratings given by members. Now, turning to the lowest rated items, there was only one question among all the questions that was rated below 3.0, the midpoint of our 5-point scale. And in fact, there was only 16% of the questions, or 14 out of 85 questions, that were rated below the 3.5 level. So most of the items were rated 3.0 or above, which means that there is a level of satisfaction, and most of them were rated very high in terms of that level of satisfaction. But turning to the 10 lowest rated items on the survey, we see that the services provided by American Properties Management Services was rated the lowest on the entire survey at 2.97. The Crystal Lake menu was 3.03. The services provided by Greenscapes was 3.14. The ladies' locker room appearance, 3.19. Voicing opinions and suggestions to the Board of Governors, 3.21. Price of menu items in the clubhouse, 3.32. Tennis apparel, clubhouse menu selection and variety, the Crystal Lake price of menu items, and the men's locker room appearance were the 10 lowest rated items. But again, I just want to emphasize, lowest is relative here because all of these items are rated, except for one, above 3.0. And when we get down to the last three items, those are actually good, solid, satisfactory averages, 3.36, 3.37, 3.42. Of course, that being said, doesn't mean that there aren't targets for future enhancement. Any percentage of members who are dissatisfied, justifies some exploration of what can be done to enhance the experience for all members. Now, in addition to these areas where we asked members to rate their level of satisfaction, we also had in the survey a number of questions where we asked members what was their level of interest for new additions to their club experience and what was their level of support. So looking at what would be the level of support for potential long-term club enhancements, the items that got the highest level of overall support were the expansion of the hours at the Crystal Lake Cafe so that it was open on most evenings, remodeling the clubhouse patio for enhanced outdoor dining, which had a 60% overall support rate, and then an additional golf short game practice area, which had an overall support of 59%. A couple other items that had support of the majority of the members was having the clubhouse dining room remodeled and updated. That had support of 56% of the participants. And then clubhouse locker room improvements, both the men and women's locker rooms, had overall support of 54% of the members. In addition to club-related long-term planning questions, we also had some that were more specific to the Eagle Creek Community Association. And some of the items that had the strongest level of support pertaining to the Eagle Creek Community Association were perimeter security, which had overall support of 79%. Enhancements to the maintenance and appearance of the lakes, overall support of 67% of the members. Enhancements to the landscaping along Eagle Creek Drive had overall support of 66% of the members. And a couple of others that had support, a majority support of the members included enhancements to community grounds landscaping by 62% of the members. Enhancements to street lighting had the support of 60% of the members. And enhancements to the front gatehouse had support of 57% of the members. So overall, when we look at the satisfaction of the membership, we find some very strong results. Specifically, we asked the question, how satisfied are you with the overall quality of the facilities at Eagle Creek? And there was a 97% overall satisfaction. We also asked, how satisfied are you with the value of your club membership relative to the cost of the dues assessment? And that had an overall satisfaction of 74%. We also asked, how satisfied are you with the value of your ECCA membership relative to the cost? And that had a satisfaction of 70%. And then finally, we asked, how satisfied are you with the value of your neighborhood association membership relative to the cost of dues? And that had a satisfaction also of 70%. Now, in addition to these results that I'm presenting, we also gave the opportunity to provide some written comments. And we had over 40 pages of written comments that help us to provide greater context to these numerical ratings. I do want to point out that in terms of the written comments, they are a subset of the number of participants who filled out the ratings for their overall satisfaction. So they're not representative of the entire membership, but they do provide some rich detail to help explain why members feel the way they feel and provide some good, useful information to inform decision making going forward. So I want to thank everybody for those written comments. They've been all categorized and help in the interpretation of the numerical data. Now, finally, in conclusion, we can say that here at Eagle Creek, we know that the members are overall have a high level of satisfaction with the experiences they have in terms of all aspects of the club. And as a result, these surveys were reinforcing to what we know from word of mouth from a number of members, but at the same time, it helps us to identify what are the targets for change and future enhancements as we go forward. And so the Board of Governors, the ECCA board, the neighborhood association boards will be able to use this data to help to further make the experiences here at Eagle Creek one that are one of the best that can be found here in Southwest Florida. So thank you all for your participation. Again, I apologize I wasn't able to be there in person, but please know that these results are some of the best that I've been able to find in Southwest Florida, and you should all be very proud of your club. Thank you.